Hey guys.
Hello.
Welcome back.
We are back with another episode of Premier League in Pints. I'm going to pull this one hand. It's going to be terrible. If you are watching... What? Who just oofed me?
Yeah, I did. That's rough pour.
Yeah, well, I'm
Yeah,
doing
rough
one-handed.
pour.
I'm talking to the masses, talking to the people. If you're watching at League Pints on YouTube, there's three of us today. So we have some breaking news about the podcast crew. Who wants to break the news about Garrett?
Garrett's in Pennsylvania today.
Well, that and we kicked him off the podcast.
No,
Yeah.
we didn't.
He's actually having his medical at City.
No, Garrett's in Pennsylvania for a work
He's-
conference. He'll be back next week.
We don't know that though.
We're pretty
hope so.
sure.
Well, we hope he comes back. Hi, Garrett. We assume you're listening and or watching. All right, so let's get into it. Game week 1 is over. All of our teams have played.
All of our teams have won. Well,
Well,
no.
not all of them.
Shit.
Oof.
So yeah, we got through. Game week 1. A lot of excitement, a lot of ups and downs. Not just our teams, but all around the league. Had a couple of really good goals scored this weekend as well. We have the new teams that came up. So a lot to talk about.
Brian, is there a lot to talk about?
There's so much
How
to
much?
talk about. Some would say way too much.
Well,
to
let's get
talk
cracking.
about. Dan, kick us off.
All right. First game of the 2023-24 Premier League season was City versus newly promoted Burnley. We all kind of knew how this was going to go, but honestly, it was great seeing Burnley back in the Premier League under Vincent Kompany.
Yeah, like you just said, I think this went just as we all expected, right? City come out, just pretty much dominated the game, start
Yeah.
to finish.
I was glad Burnley wasn't changing their style of football and that they played their high press, expansive game, even though they didn't have even though they're playing City and you knew they weren't going to win that game.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they said this is the kind of game we're going to play the rest of the year, regardless of who we're against. And I think that they'll stay up just based on that performance alone.
Yeah, I mean, they have a clear identity under Kompany, and like you said, they're sticking to it. So I think just from watching that game, I think they'll be safe this year. I think they'll stay up. They showed, I think they had a lot of young kids who actually looked pretty good. I forget the one kid's name. I gotta look it up. But he looked a couple chances he had where he was like just creating and like, little scary moments for City with him. But I gotta figure out his name. I'll look it up. But
I got you. Who was it? I have it up right now.
Let's see.
Say it again. Was it Berg?
No.
I feel like he played well.
Koleosho. He's like a 19, 20-year-old kid.
Yeah,
Canadian, I think, right?
Italian. Literally says Italy next to his name. Yeah, no. I mean, like I said, we this game kind of went the way we expected, but to both your points, I do like how Burnley came out, didn't change the way they were going to play. Kompany, they kind of stuck to their guns. They stuck with what got them promoted in the first place, and I know it's early, it's week 1, and complete overreaction of the season with however many games left to go. But I do think Burnley stay up. I mean, you could see
Agreed.
you could see they have the passion. They love playing under Kompany, and yeah, they kind of for the most part got dominated. But they had their chance with the ball. They had some spells of possession, and even though later in the game they're down 3 goals, they kept there was no giving up. They kept fighting. They kept pushing. They were going in hard to challenges. They were taking their chances. So yeah, it was nice to see a newly promoted team come up and play well and stick to their style of play.
Yeah.
But at the same time, super unfortunate you have to go against the
not the
reigning
game you
treble
wanted.
champs. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, let's give City their credit, too. I mean, obviously, they were dominant in the game. Even with losing key people like Gundogan and Riyad Mahrez, still look strong. I would say, I think there's also the biggest probably talking point of this game, KDB re-injured his hamstring.
yeah, he's done for a while.
I don't know if the exact time frame's out, but it's going to be a while.
I think
Definitely a couple months.
I think they put it at 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
they
saw
said-
3 months.
I think I saw the same thing.
Um,
Which that's a big chunk of the season. That's unfortunate. I don't think that's going to stop them from winning the games that we're going to win. But you kind of need someone else to kind of step up in that role then.
Yeah, I feel like all around the field, and you see this throughout the season without injuries, Pep's always rotating his lineup. He always has starters that can slot in for, the normal starters and like the main guys. So I think depth-wise, I think they're going to be okay. They probably can cover it. Maybe you change the formation, you switch some things up.
They're not done in the market too. Paquetá's probably coming in. I think
Yeah, we have what? We have a month or two left of the transfer window.
End of the month, I think.
End of the month,
September 1st, maybe, or end of the month. Yeah.
So we have some time. They can always go, get some surprise move or something too. But Pep, you see what he does the past couple of years. I mean, he's going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And the other thing, that we could touch on in this game. I mean, about 3 minutes in, Haaland right where he left off. I mean, picking up 2 goals in this game. I mean, at one point, I think it was, the 4th minute, and I was on Twitter. We were at Darcy's, shout out Darcy's, watching all the games, and Men in Blazers tweeted like, Haaland now with this goal currently on pace to score like 1,100 goals this season. It was so funny, but I mean, 2 right off the rip. I mean, the guy just doesn't stop. He just cannot be stopped. It's kind of crazy.
I don't even think he was the best player on the pitch. I think Rodri was even better. He had a goal and assist.
He was
solid in the midfield.
Fantastic. Granted, the goal wasn't the most spectacular goal in the world.
Still right place, right time.
But
Gets himself in those positions.
He was creating chances all game. He was playing great defensively, and when you could push forward and take a chance like that and get in the right spot, that's what he did, and it worked out perfectly for him.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
good with that game.
Yeah, kind of like we expected, like we just said. So, let's move on. The next game we have here, Danny.
Yeah.
Danny boy.
Keep it rolling, Dan. Tell us about Arsenal Forest.
Your Arsenal. Your Gunners.
So ended 2-1. One of the big talking points, Matt Turner just switched from Arsenal to Nottingham literally a couple days before this game started, or before the game. And he started the game. So Forest brought him in and trusted him to get going right away, and I think he actually played a pretty good game. He had a couple nervy moments, but
he played pretty solid.
He played pretty solid. Like the first goal, Nketiah after a crazy back heel pass from Marno.
Did he do that on purpose?
I think so, because if he didn't mean to do it, he would have went for like the rollover when he did the
because it looked like
spin. But
it looked like after his heel, he was kind of looking behind him to see where the ball went.
Yeah, I don't know.
Either way, if I'm him, I'm
saying
saying I meant to do it.
Yeah. Either way, right into Nketiah's stride, and then deflected through the goalie's legs or the defender's legs, right under Turner's arm.
Yeah, I mean,
as an Nketiah hater, because I do not think he's a great forward, I will say I thought he had a pretty good game.
Yeah, I mean,
he looked all right.
I get the hate, but like, he's not like the kind of forward that's probably should be starting for Arsenal, but he's stepping up when we need him. Even last season,
I mean, you had injuries. Someone's got to step up.
I think in the last 15 games at home, he scored 14 goals or something. So like he's
doing the job.
He's doing what he's got to do right now.
He has to do.
But then following that goal, Saka gets on the score sheet.
Christ.
What a shot!
That left foot from the
cuts in from
top
the
of the corner
right
of the box,
side.
cuts in.
Yeah,
just bends one. I mean,
expecting big things from him this season.
Yeah,
so.
But like. I know we touched on this slightly, but like, obviously, we're all American idiots. We don't know soccer. Blah, blah, blah. Like
football.
Yeah, whatever. But like, we're at Darcy's again. Like, because we live there now. But we're watching games, and there's people whose teams aren't playing yet, and we're just kind of cheering for Matt Turner, right? We want the American kid to do well, and his first game against his former club, and there's 2 goals he could do absolutely nothing about. Yeah. But like you said, he played well. He had some nervy moments, but that Saka shot was. That's what you've come to expect from him now.
Yeah.
You expect him to almost every game cut in from that right side and swinging a ball, swinging a shot, and he caught it beautifully and just put it side netting, far post, and I think as soon as it left his foot, you can kind of tell, yep, this one is going into the back of the net.
Yeah. And both those goals, did come in the first half, and it was really, I would say, a pretty dominant performance in the first half. End of the first half, Timber goes down with a little injury.
I liked him too.
Little injury.
Well, it was initially a little injury, and then it was like right at the end of the half, so they didn't sub him out. He went through halftime.
Subbed him out. They actually played 5 minutes into the second half. He got subbed out at the 50th minute.
Yeah. So second half, physio, whoever said, okay, you're good to play, comes back out, ACL injury, done for 7+ months.
An Arsenal fan. New signed defender. How do you feel about that? How does that affect you guys going forward?
Of the 3 new signings that we had, he performed the best consistently in the preseason. So
I would agree.
for me, very upset. Like I was so looking forward to him. And I think like he could play that inverted role, drop into midfield. I think it's a big loss for us, especially from a depth percent.
And the fact that he could play on the right and the
Perspective,
left.
percentage, I almost said. Yeah, right, left, center back, center mid. Yeah. And with Champions League added games this year, it's like we're losing an extra defender who we brought in for a reason. So it just sucks. Nothing you can do about it. Hopefully he has a quick, recovery.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's 2 serious injuries in the first 2 games of the Premier League there, and it only gets worse
pretty
from
much.
that. But
Yeah. But no, I think, my final thoughts on this game, yes, I know it was, Nottingham and, they should have won this game, and they did, Arsenal. So, at the same time, I mean, if they can put together a full 90 minutes like they did in that first half, if that first half can translate into 45 minutes, then to 60 minutes, then to 70, and then eventually to 90 minutes, if they could put in that 90 minutes, they're going to be right at the top of the league. They're going to be fighting for the title again. And I said, when you do look at them, they have some depth in some places, especially now, that you see the injuries they have. You're seeing guys step up for them. I think we're going to see another push from them, another run from them this year.
hope so. But yeah, like you said, they kind of dropped off a little bit in the second half, probably towards like the 70th, 75th minute, somewhere around there.
Yeah, they got that counter.
I think the subs that Forrest made were really good. They subbed on Alanga, Kouyaté, Nico Williams, and the forward who scored, who I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's like
Iowani.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought all those players were starters.
2 of them linked up for the goal, yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised I didn't see him out there. And it was just a raw pace goal.
Yeah.
Anthony Alanga down the
Counter-attack.
side.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was hopefully what we see more of from Forrest this year.
I like that because Anthony Alanga, the former Man U guy.
Yeah.
But, he comes in, he gets the assist on that goal. He said he just kind of bombs down that left side in the counter, plays a good ball in the box, and that's kind of the run that he makes and the goal that they the run that he makes and the goal that they score. I think that ball is so dangerous either way because Ramsdale can't come out, and I think even if the forward doesn't get a touch on it, that might even take a deflection off the defender and find its way in the net, and it almost did.
Yeah.
But I would like to see more of that from Nottingham.
But
that
honestly, like
kind of play.
The forward Iowani, his run was like perfect. Like
I agree.
Held up, stayed behind Ben White, and then last second, right when Alanga's about to cross the ball in, jumps right in front of Ben White. Probably could have done better defending, but literally boxes him out, gets a foot right under Ramsdale's legs. So greatly executed goal. They deserved it, I think, at that point. But like you said, Arsenal needs to 90 minutes strong.
Yeah,
They probably shouldn't have conceded, but that's
good teams win under any circumstances.
Yeah.
And I think that was a good performance as a whole for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, they got the result that we all kind of expected. And to be honest with you, the late goal from Nottingham, we were there at 7:30 in the morning watching this game. As a neutral, it makes it fun. So it kind of brought it down to the wire. I know, Dan, for you, it's not that fun. It's a little bit nervy at that point, but it does think you creeps into your mind like, oh, are we going to see something here? But
Yeah.
fortunately for you, we did not. Next game, it is. We have a bunch of 10 o'clocks. What do we want to start with?
We don't have to talk too much on this one. We'll start with Bournemouth West Ham. Game ended 1-1, right? 1-1 draw.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us spent a lot of time watching this game.
No.
Jared Boeing, great goal.
The goal was fucking sick.
Yeah. Puket had a pretty great game. And for me, the biggest downside was Antonio. He did absolutely nothing.
Didn't do anything.
And I'm really worried.
They need a forward.
They do need a forward.
Yeah.
I don't think Antonio's cutting it. I don't think Danny Ings is going to cut it. They just sold
Scamacca.
They just sold him back to team in Serie A. I think they desperately need a forward. I'm worried for West Ham with the signings. I think James Ward-Prowse will help, especially if they lose Piquet to Manchester City.
Yeah.
But I'm a little concerned with them. They're going to have Europa League this year. They're going to have the Prem this year. I want them to be back to the team they were 3 seasons ago where they're challenging.
Yeah.
And on the inverse, Bournemouth, I think a lot of us said Bournemouth were probably going to go down this year. Small club, not a ton of financial funds to get a lot of great players
budget
in there. I think when we were watching it, we were all a little surprised about the goal. Dominic Solanke. I'm worried for both of these clubs going forward.
Yeah.
Is the nicest way to put it.
I mean, you look at the West Ham goal, you look at Bowen's goal, and it was a great shot, right? It was very, very similar, if not identical, to Saka's goal in the Arsenal game. I mean, top of the box, left foot, bends it in. But then on the flip side of it, can you get that, please, behind you? Just flick that damn thing off. There we go. And sorry if you guys heard that for the first 20 minutes. I'm an idiot. I forgot to turn it off.
It's hot out here.
Yeah, we're dying in here. But no, when you look at the Bournemouth goal, I mean, it was just, for lack of a better term, it was a clusterfuck in the back for West Ham. And, they kind of shot themselves in the foot in a way. They just couldn't keep the marks. They couldn't really get the ball out when they had chances to. And Bournemouth takes advantage of it. So, I agree with you, Clayton. I think at the end of the day, these are two teams that are going to struggle and that are going to fight for their lives. I wouldn't be shocked if by the halfway point of the season, these two teams are, only a few points clear and a few points safe for relegation.
I mean, the only thing that can work for West Ham is they have a lot of money, from the Rice deals. So if they bring in the right people, and
where are you going? Oh, okay. We have an injury.
We need the medical staff out.
You get the physio.
Don't get the magic spray.
Don't get Timber's physio though.
Yeah,
that
no.
guy, the Arsenal's physio didn't really help. Spray it down.
But yeah, if they sell Paqueta too.
Make sure we're still recording, by the way. While you're up. I don't like that. I don't like this.
Okay.
Thank God.
So
we're using my phone today, and my phone, we don't know what happens there.
So they got 105 from the sell of not Ben White.
Rice,
my God.
Yeah.
And then if they sell Paqueta, that's another over 100. What's looking like between 80, 100, million pounds.
But how much was it for WordPress to come in?
30, I think,
somewhere around there. So they definitely have money to spend.
Yeah, about 150, right?
Yeah.
If our math, which don't listen to me for math advice, but
very rough
if
estimates.
If we're sitting at 180 and then they spent 30, you're sitting at 150 million. Like you have like you said, about half a month left. You can shore up some of the spots on that roster.
Bring in a center back, bring in a forward, probably most important, and maybe like a wing. Like they've been linked to Kudus too, but every Premier League club has been linked to Kudus recently.
Yeah.
So, they definitely need some signings because it's not looking great at the moment.
Yeah. End of the day, like I said, both teams here, it's going to be tough for them going forward. All right, let's move on to. We're going to go with another game. Brand new team coming up, Luton. Obviously playing on the road since they can't play at home for 3-4 weeks, whatever it was. They're at Brighton. I wanted this game to be. I wanted goals. I expected goals. We got 5 of them. However, I really thought it was going to be a little bit more even. Brighton obviously winning this game 4-1.
I said it wasn't.
Yeah,
I said
you were the only one.
I was the only one. I really did. But in my defense, right, watching this game, there were spells where Luton did look dangerous going forward.
I would say probably about the first 10 to 25 minutes. I was like, it was end to end, and we were sitting next to each other. And we were like, this is crazy.
We're like, this is a 3-3 game.
There wasn't a ton of shots, but it was pretty end to end. And then when Brighton got there first, they just turned it up a notch, and Luton did not have that
too
in
much.
the tank.
Yeah, like I said, and as soon as that first goal went in, that first Solly Marsh goal, it was. Yeah. You could see the momentum shift. We couldn't hear the game. I assume the crowd probably lost their mind. Luton didn't know what to expect at that point. And you saw the whole game just kind of slowly turn and twist towards Brighton's favor.
Yeah.
And it's a game that a brand new team coming up, you don't expect them to win it. Like you said though, Clayton, like they fought, and it was a super end game. I think they had some chances. Obviously towards the end, the last two Brighton goals, Luton switched off. They tried to bring a ball down just outside their own 6. I forget who it was. We tried to bring it down outside their own 6, and it was pretty much just a tap-in at that point for Brighton. But on the flip side, I guess the one positive, Luton did get their first ever Premier League goal off a penalty kick. Carlton Morris gets it. And at that point, it was a 1-goal game. He put that in, and there was 2-1 with 9 minutes plus stoppage left, and you're thinking, all right, can this be like the Cinderella story? Can this be like the oh my god moment of opening day? And then Brighton said, yeah, no, absolutely fucking not.
But there was also hope for a while because first goal was in the 36th minute, and then there's a PK. Both the PKs in this game were, all the PKs this weekend were a little in my opinion. We'll get to some other ones
and
later.
the non-PKs.
Yeah,
we're also
Yeah, we'll get to some later. So
wild weekend.
Like in this Lockyer, I think fouls. I forget it might have been João Pedro, but goes down very easily, and penalties awarded. João Pedro gets his first goal for Brighton on his debut. Takes care of business there, but then that puts him up 2-0, and then 10 minutes later, Luton get a PK, and their goal comes from a penalty kick, and this is a handball in the box, which, I think it's Dunk kind of dives in, but his arm's
away.
His momentum, it's away, but it's like, it is, to me, it looked like a natural,
that's
arm
a tough
movement.
one to call for anyone who's played any kind of, at any level. It's a tough one for a defender.
Yeah, for me, it's like, okay, maybe it's a makeup call in some ways, but then again, who knows? But yeah, Carlton Moore steps up, and like Brian mentioned, gets their first goal in the Premier League. And then from there, Brian just kind of take care of business.
Yeah. Honestly, it can't be easy for a team, to come up your first ever time in the Prem. And I know that in the moment, right, before the game and right after the game, this isn't in your head, but there has to be a point, maybe after week 2 or 3, where they're like, it starts to get overwhelming. You're not playing at home. Yeah, you have your traveling supporters there, but it's that anticipation of how loud it's going to be in your building when they finally get that done and they can play at home. But until then, to keep going on the road and to hear the noise from the other fans and the atmosphere, it has to be overwhelming for a team who hasn't been here before. Yeah. And like you said, it got to 2-1, and I think at that point, the experience of the Brighton players and the fact that they've been there before kind of started taking over, and they didn't panic once Luton got their goal, and they just said, we're going to keep playing our game, and it resulted in 2 more for them.
Yep. That's all that needs to be said. You got anything?
I think that for however long they're not playing these home games will work in Luton's favor, because when we get to the dog days of the season and they need 3 points against Liverpool or 3 points against, a Newcastle, but they're home because all those games are getting rescheduled.
They're gonna have a run of home games.
It's gonna be, and I don't know when these games are gonna be rescheduled. These could get rescheduled for Christmas time, and it couldn't matter as much. But the most dangerous time to play those teams that are going to be in the relegation battle are the end of the year, because they have nothing to lose and they're fighting for their lives. And I think if they do reschedule these Luton games for the end of the season, it's going to be some of the most entertaining football to watch, because it's going to be incredible. They're going to be at home. Their fans are going to be amped that they're even there. And it's going to be the kind of game where they're going to throw the kitchen sink to try to get all 3 points so they can stay up, if they're in that situation at that time of the year, which we all think they will be.
I was going to say, let's just hope they don't dig themselves in too deep of a hole up until that point. Hopefully they can pull some results away in the meantime, so that once they start having these home games, like you said, the team can back them up and inspire them to some wins.
All right. Let's move on here.
Fulham Everton.
Yeah. So next
game, a lot of
here,
crazy calls in this game.
Yeah. So final result here is Everton 0, Fulham 1. And for Everton, you get the first game, right? Everton supporters, it's our first game back at home. We survived, and maybe it'll be different. We've been down there, we've been fighting. We're gonna come in with some energy. Nah, same old kind of Everton. And not because they didn't play well. We have it right here. Leno went off. Yeah, Leno had a goddamn phenomenal game in goal. How many? I'm trying to pull up the stats right now. He was. I'm on the EPO website. He was voted the fans man of the match, and he should be voted. Not just the fans, but he was the man of the match for that team. 9 shots on target for Everton. He saves them all. Gets the clean sheet. He played out of his mind.
I think in the first minute, I think it was Mopé was in on goal.
It
just sprayed it wide. And Mopé's he hasn't
couldn't hit
scored
water.
He hasn't scored in some time, but he was just from
been a while for him, huh?
one. Yeah. He's been getting peppered, and he had a great game.
Yeah. But again, I say what I say not to make it seem like Everton sucks. Don't discredit Fulham. Fulham played a good game.
They had a great season last season, and they're without their
stupid little bitch.
They're without
I will kill you, you stupid bug.
Player of the season.
We'll get it later.
From last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that Fulham's going to have a great year. if I were a bigger team, I would be worried about them because I think they're gonna get some sneaky wins.
I think so too. I think they will have a good season. I think they'll finish top half again. I think they'll be like 9-10 if I had to guess.
I'm excited to see if Williams stays.
Yeah,
Because we know Mitrovic
he's
probably gone.
Yeah.
I don't think Raul Jimenez has been the same since his concussion or
Skull
fracture.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see if Williams stays because I think he's going to help Raul Jimenez get some good service into the box, whether he's comfortable heading it or not.
Yeah.
They've got Harry Wilson, who's got a great foot. And I'm excited to see what will happen with that front three or front two or however they line up. Because I think that I think without Mitrovic, they're not going to be as strong as they were. But I think there's a good core group of players there.
But they also just got Traore from Wolves, who
They did.
had the link up with Jimenez in the past too. So if they can rekindle that relationship here at Fulham, I think it could actually work out. I think that might be a good move for them.
And the other thing I want to say is too, I mean, you lose a forward. I mean, this is another game where a substitute came off the bench and made an impact. Right? Bobby Cordova-Reid, he comes off the bench and he gets the winner. So
yeah, and that was a good play, build-up play.
great, and he's another one of those players where I do think that he, if these guys leave, I can see him kind of working his way and fighting his way for a starting spot. If they're not bringing in, another forward or enough players, whatever it may be. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the goal was great. The build-up was great. The link-up was very good. I mean, on the other side of it, though, I mean, you guys see Everton fighting for...
I thought they didn't. I was more
staying
impressed
up
with
again
how
or
they
what?
played against Fulham than I thought. I thought
Okay.
I thought they were going to have a really lackluster beginning of the season, and I was kind of surprised with the way they started. I reevaluated how I assessed them going into the season. I still think they'll struggle, but I definitely think that they have more talent. And with Sean Dyche, who's going to play the classic 4-4-2 or the 4-4-1-1, and he's just going to root them down and say, we are not going to get scored on, which, yeah, they're going to get scored on. But it's going to keep them he's going to keep them in more games than not.
I think they just need to get healthy, and then I think they'll be fine. Because if they can get Calvert-Lewin back to the level he was at 2 years ago, and they just brought in Jack Harrison from Leeds, and Dwight McNeil is injured once he's back, that's a solid front three, I think.
Yeah.
Who can score goals and can create. And then, like you said, Sean Dyche brings that expertise in defense and solid in the back. I think they'll be all right, and that's why I think they can actually have a better season than most people are predicting. But
You think they can make top half of the table?
that was my bold prediction. But you guys,
I still
shot
don't
it
think it's a
down
bold
last time.
prediction, but
Yeah,
I think that would be a very good season for them.
So-
It'd be a great season for them. Like I said, I don't think it's bold enough.
okay. Well, I'm still sticking with that. I think they finished 10 or higher.
Listen, good for you, man.
Yeah.
All right. We good here?
Mm.
All right, so we got one more game at that 10 o'clock slate to touch on, and it's Crystal Palace beating the newly promoted Sheffield United 1-0. I mean, again, I think this is another one of the games where, we're sitting there watching all the games at the bar and stuff, and it's one of those games where I don't think a lot of things kind of caught our eye. I mean, I didn't find myself turning my attention to watch this game.
Basically, all I caught from it was I thought Eze is going to be I think he's going to have an amazing
Dude, he's
season.
going to have a fucking phenomenal year.
He is going to be
He's so good.
the man for this team this year. And I am so excited. I'm scared because of fantasy. He's going to tear it up, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he's going to have a great season. I also think it's Edouard's season. There's no Zaha. Ayu's going to play on the wing. It's his season to say, hey, I got to start breaking out and make myself the biggest striker.
Yep.
Starting off with the goal, not a bad way to go. And I think if him and Eze can link up, they're going to have a great season. I think that I don't think they'll be fighting for top 6, but I think that Crystal Palace will be, especially with Roy coming back. He knows the players, he knows the club. I could see them being top 10 easily.
Now, on the flip side of this game, right, I mean, Sheffield just coming up. It's not like, Luton who just came up and they got demolished. what do we? I mean, again, it's been week 1. These are way too early. We're overreacting here. We're just going out really early here. What do we think about Sheffield? I mean, do we think they're going down? I mean, they came out and they played a good Palace team who has a good, strong lineup. They had, they have some studs up front, some stubs on the outside. Do we think that Sheffield is going to be down there in the dog days of the season with 3 weeks left, fighting to stay alive, or do we think they might grab that 13th to 16th spot and can maybe comfortably stay up, or do we think they're really going to be fighting at the end of the year?
I think they're going down.
Yeah,
I had them in my bottom 3, and I know Dan.
I'm not disagreeing with you guys, either of you. Yeah, no, I'm fully in agreement with that.
I think Dan touched on this last week. I mean, they sold their best player to Marseille from last year, and I mean,
The
they
one
just
to Burnley.
exactly. I don't see them doing what they did all those seasons ago when they were, I think what was it, the first season they were back in the Prem in years, they were top 7, and they had a great year. I just don't see them replicating that, and it's a shame because I'm happy that they kind of did the whole flip-flop and went down to the championship, fought there for a season or 2, and then came back. But I just don't see them staying up this year. And at the performance they put in the other day, honestly, I thought Crystal Palace was comfortable. I thought that listen, that's a terrible thing to say, but I thought that Crystal Palace had a game plan. They executed, 1-0 win away. That's what you have to get done on the road.
Yeah. I mean, I got it. Yeah. Okay, so now the last game on Saturday.
Take it away. He just chugged his beer.
Let me
there,
finish
guys.
my beer before we start this.
Let him finish
You
his
want to
beer.
get another one and then another one?
No. You want me to grab you one?
Yeah, grab me a beer.
All right. Speaking of drinking beers, right now we're drinking.
We are drinking Modelo.
A little sponsor. So Clayton's going to need a beer.
Yes, he will.
So I'm
Good
going to
luck,
start.
away.
Thanks. I'm going to start with Newcastle, just because I could talk about this game for hours. But I will be the first to admit, I thought Tonali was not going to perform. I saw him in preseason. He was a ghost in preseason. Historically, Italians in the Prem, they don't have the physicality.
Yep.
They just get pushed off the ball. They get pushed around. I thought he was absolutely spectacular.
I think he was the best player on the pitch for, if not the whole game.
If Isaac didn't score 2 goals, I thought he was amazing.
Yeah, but even still, he was getting the hockey assist, which is the pass
Assist to the
pass.
assist, yeah.
In 2 or 3 of the goals. But sorry, go on.
I thought he was amazing. He was up. He was back. He was everywhere he needed to be. At one point, he was tracking down a long ball to Ollie Watkins on the outside, and I was like, I can't believe he's over there now. He was everywhere. So he was
here.
great.
He's there. He's every
fucking where.
Tonali.
Fucking jackass.
So he was great.
This whole show, what a debacle this whole fucking... I'm sorry, side note. This whole show is a fucking debacle. Not just this episode. It always is. We're getting up to make sure we're recording. We're cutting ourselves. We're grabbing more beer. This is what fans signed up for when they tune in. This is the fucking bullshit that we do. All right, carry on.
I thought Isaac was great, or Isaac, or however you pronounce it.
Fantastic.
I think he's going to be at Newcastle for 2 more years, and I think a bigger club's going to come knocking. I could see a Real Madrid or a Barcelona or a Bayern Munich coming and going, hey, this is
how old is
we
he?
Want you, because he looks the whole package.
What if in 2 years Newcastle is at that level? They're winning the Premier League. They're competing in the Champions League. There might not be a better, that's one of the best kind of projects to join right now, especially with the money and how they're performing in the league.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you.
But I get what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
20, He's 24.
I thought Eddie Howe did great man management. Villa played the high line the whole game away at St. James's Park, which was bouncing. And then he subs in Harvey Barnes, who is the quickest guy on the pitch, and says, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to slot you in, and you're going to be in on goal every time. And he probably should have had 3 goals if Emily Martinez wasn't in the net.
So you bringing that up, right, as a Villa fan, as a big Harvey Barnes hater.
Do not like him.
How did that feel personally and in your heart when that ball went in from him? How did you feel? Because it was late in the game. It was 91st minute or something. It was 91st minute. That dagger, right? And the game was, at that point, it was done. But just to add the insult, just walk me through the emotions. Walk me through. I was sitting right next to you because I wanted Villa to win. I was with you. I think I was the only one there.
Emotions were high.
Yeah. So walk me through.
So at that point in the game, first of all, losing Tyrone Mings, we could have lost that game 10-0. If Tyrone Mings would have stayed healthy, I would have been less upset with that result.
Yep.
And the last 2 seasons, Villa have lost the first game of the Prem. Last year we lost to Bournemouth, and I just remember leaving the bar and being like, this is going to be a hell of a season. And this year, if Tyrone Mings didn't have get the injury he got, especially after Buendia was just hurt the week before, if he didn't get that injury, I would have been like, you know what, 5-1 Newcastle at St. James's Park, I still feel optimistic.
Yeah.
I left the bar feeling optimistic, but I was scared because that injury, as a captain, as a leader, as the main voice in the back four, he is now going to be out for the season. And we got Pau Torres who's going to replace him, but I don't think Emery bought Pau Torres to be
that replacement.
No.
I think he wanted to almost do that makeshift back four that we see Arsenal and City do, and Manchester United even do now, where Pau's playing on the left, but when we have the ball, Cash is moving it into this midfield, and it's a back three. So I think that's not only going to be an issue going forward, but an issue with just how we line up every day.
Yeah.
So now getting to the Harvey Barnes goal, we played that high line, which was made for Tyrone Mings in it, and it was not working the whole game.
But at that point, you did it the whole game, but especially later in the game when you're down a few goals, you have to. You lose by 1, you lose by 4. Guess what? You still lost. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So when Harvey Barnes came on the field, first of all, every time we played Leicester, he scores.
Yeah.
So when he came on the field and we were still playing the high line, I was like, they're gonna slot him in, and they did 2 or 3 times, and we were lucky that we had Emi Martinez in there because he saved us a couple times.
And then he shot that arrow through
your
heart.
Yep. And then just the rest of the Villa team. I mean, Kamara was terrible. I felt like he couldn't find feet the whole game. Matty Cash was awful.
Yeah, he had a game to forget.
He had a game to forget.
Sure.
Absolutely. Konza was. Listen, that was unfortunate.
Yeah, that was
the whole
Yikers City.
I would bet my paycheck every single week that Konza makes the right decision in that situation. That was just unlucky.
I think
feel for the guy.
He missed it.
And I think that's a little bit, your center back partner goes down psychologically. What's that doing to you?
And Isak's breathing down his neck, and he's kind of facing the other way. It's like,
So
that
I think
finish too was crazy. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, and I mean, just the first 2 goals are set plays, and that's you just got to turn on. You got to turn on. On the first goal, Digne at the back post is sitting there. If you can literally watch the replay, he's sitting there with his mouth open, watching Tonali sprint in and score. It's like it's not your man, but that's your spot. You can get there. And then the second, I was sitting next to Brian, and the second that ball went square for the short free kick, back me up here. I just went, here we go.
Here
we go.
The ball gets played, and Clayton just goes, oh, no, this is it. And I was like, yeah. You know what? And I wanted to be like, no, because I was trying to be pretty optimistic and pretty positive with him. Because I wanted him to win. I had some money on him. I wanted him to win. But when Clayton was like, here we go, I kind of looked at him. I glanced at the screen. I was like, shit. This is the inevitable right here. We're fucked.
Let's stick with being positive here. Diaby looked amazing.
He looked amazing.
He was Villa's best player on the pitch besides maybe Martinez.
In the first 20 to 30 minutes, we were in the game.
Yeah.
Diaby was pretty much generating everything. He had the goal. He had a square ball to Watkins that he missed the frame. And then he had one he shot near post that he probably should have squared. Yeah. But he looked good. He looked fast. He looked agile. He looked like he was willing to take people on. Yeah. I'm excited to see him and Watkins in the future. Honestly, the game as a whole, if we didn't lose Mings, I would still be going to the future going, this is going to be a great season. I'm a little hesitant. I still think it'll be a good season, but I'm a little hesitant going now.
I was just going to build off that, too. Like you mentioned it before. You left last year you lost the opening day. You left feeling optimistic. Honestly, yes, the result and the scoreline and the injury rose, it sucks. You look at the score, it's someone who didn't watch the game or, doesn't listen to this phenomenal podcast where we talk about all the games. I gotta hype this up a little bit. So, they just see the scoreline and they think, 5-1, Villa stink, or, Newcastle's great. But, you look at the players like Diaby, you see, some of the sparks of, oh my God, it could be there for Villa. It might take just maybe a game or two, some fine-tuning. Now they have to plug some holes with injuries. But, and I'm not just saying this because Clayton's here and, and for some reason, I don't know why I was so spot Villa, probably because of you, because you're an asshole.
Thanks, Brian.
But you see something there. Like, yeah, it's a 5-1 loss, whatever, but there's something there. And I think you're right. I think maybe it's not next week. Maybe it's not the week after. Maybe they don't pick up a win in their first 3. But I think they will, each week's going to get better for them. And I can see them becoming a better team and getting results. I mean, I like their roster. I like their names. I like the names they have on their team sheet. I really like a lot of their players. And, yeah, it's going to be tough to plug some of the injuries like I just mentioned. But I think there are some bright spots and there is some hope here.
Yeah, we have Everton next at home, and then we have Burnley. Ideally, that should be 6 points because the 3 following are tough games. So it's gotta happen sooner than later. But I'm looking forward to it, and I think it'll be a good rest of the season. And let's move on to our next segment.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's get on. So that was Saturday. All right, so Friday, Saturday out of the way. We have 2 games Sunday, 1 game Monday, and then we have a couple more things we want to touch on. A couple of small little segments here. So let's jump right into Sunday. We got the first game. We have Brentford 2, Tottenham 2. A result that I'm going to be honest, I didn't expect to happen. I didn't expect to be 4 goals in this game.
So we weren't all at Darcy's together on Sunday. So who watched the game?
I saw the first half.
I watched the game. Did you watch the game, Ryan?
I watched the highlights.
Okay. Go ahead, highlights. Tell us what you thought.
I watched that.
Go ahead, highlights.
I mean, listen, just based off what I saw, and again, I'll be the first to admit I didn't watch the game. Spurs going forward, everything is going to revolve, and as we thought, around James Maddison. He gets both assists on the Tottenham goals, one off a phenomenal set piece, the other one just swinging a ball in the box. I mean, he is going to be, now that Kane is gone, you're going to have to find goals elsewhere.
He's the guy everything runs through now.
Yeah. And you know what? You're going to have to find goals elsewhere. I mean, I can only imagine if they had Madison going in, getting the ball in the field, turning and pinging a ball to Son and Kane, how deadly that would be up top, the 3 of them. But again, you have Emerson Royale, Christian Romero. They got the 2 goals in this one. And is it because they are pure natural-born goal scorers? No. It's because they have James Maddison behind them pulling the strings, and he's running the show. And, when you lose a goal scorer like Kane, a guy like James Maddison is going to come in, and he's going to change the team, and he's going to create goal scorers out of players who, to be honest, normally don't find the back of the net. So, at that aspect, I think Spurs it's going to be interesting down the line to see who else he can get on the team sheet. And honestly, slightly surprised that Son didn't get one. But
Son was non-existent. I felt like I didn't see him at all.
That's why
he caused the penalty. That was the only contribution I thought he had to the whole game.
He had like 1 or 2 shots, but nothing too crazy.
But that's why I'm a little shocked because you now have and I'm sorry, Spurs fans, I don't give a damn about you, but when Kane was there for the past few years, who do they have in the middle of the field? Just sending in perfect crosses, sending in perfect balls, finding their feet.
No one since Eriksson.
And now you get one, and he goes non-existent, which is I don't know. So it might take some time, but
just to contradict you a little bit for the fun of it, I thought Spurs and Brentford, I thought they both played great games to the style of football they're going to be playing going forward. Spurs, everything was. Question, Brian.
How does that contradict what I said?
Because I think Son played in the system he was supposed to be playing in.
Okay, that's fair then.
I don't think he performed as well as he could have in that system.
Yep.
Because the Spurs system is the fullbacks are getting up, the forwards are tucking in more. It's a lot of attack. We're going forward. So I think Son, don't get me wrong, he didn't have a good game. Yeah. He typically would have. But I didn't hate the way Spurs looked with everything running forward. On the flip side, Brentford's high press.
They look good.
There were some edgy moments for Spurs, and Brentford looked good.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? I don't think – I think these are the kind of games that we're going to see out of Brentford. I don't think we're going to see them win games 1-0. I think if they're going to win close games, they're going to be close, high-scoring games. They could be a game like this where they get that one extra goal, 3-2. They're going to be in high-scoring games. They either win 3-2, lose 2. I don't think we're going to see a lot of times this year because of the high press that Brentford play and because they are go, 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 go. And they have some quality up front. Well, they have two pretty good strikers up front.
But Tony's also out, and people also are saying, oh, Tony's out. Who's going to fill in? Who's going to score goals while he's out for the first couple months. And Buemo, he looked pretty good. I mean, his goal came from a PK like you mentioned before, but he also missed a sitter.
He did.
Like,
Oh my god!
inside like the 6-yard box. I think he just put it over. It is a ball whipped in, but he's got to do better. At least get it on target.
Wissa had a great game too.
Yeah, he gets
Wissa had a great game. Got a goal. I think it was Rico Henry made the run down, like kind of similar to the game, or the goal Nottingham had, like charged down the side.
It was Henry, yeah.
It was Henry, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he passed the ball into who was it?
Wissa,
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice finish.
But yeah, I mean, I don't see Brentford. Honestly, I feel like personally, and this may be a wild thing to say, and you guys can criticize me if it sounds like that's insane.
It's insane.
Fuck off. I don't think we're going to see Brentford get shut out a lot this year. I just don't. I don't think they're going to get, like...
Even without Ivan Toney for the first 6 months.
Yeah, because they just send everybody forward. They get forward. And like I said, I know the one goal was a penalty, but they had so many more chances. Besides the 2 goals, they had a bunch more chances that we just touched on. There was a sitter that was missed. Like, they clearly could have gotten more. And I don't think it's going to help them, their style of play. I think the go teams are going to start to catch on. They're going to sit back. They're going to get 11 players behind the ball, and then they're going to counter the shit out of them, and they're going to score on them. But I still do think in those games they will steal a goal or two, and I don't think we're going to see them get shut out that much this year. I just don't.
All right, we good? We gotta get moving because
we're at
close to
almost
an hour,
right.
and we have not finished the recap of the games yet.
So, all right, we got.
And these are 2 of the biggest games of the weekend.
We probably
so
should have started here.
Well, granted, let's be honest. An hour. If we get through all the games in an hour, and an extra 20 minutes for the segments, we're good. All right. So we'll get to the last game on Sunday, and that is Chelsea 1, Liverpool 1. I caught glimpses of this game. I had some other stuff going on. I had it on my phone. I was able to watch most of the second half. It was pretty entertaining. I was entertained.
I mean, Mo Salah is just class. I mean, his assist to Diaz for the first goal outside the
thread
foot.
of the needle.
And I mean, if you, I think NBC did a breakdown of it, of the actual angle he had, and it was non-existent for him to be able to hit that. Not only for him to hit that, and for it to be inch perfect. I mean, and they were blaming Lewis Caldwell and the other center back on the other side for being too far behind.
Yeah.
But it's like the ball could have not been any more perfect. Lewis Caldwell did everything he could. He was standing exactly where he should have been standing. He's up against one of the best wingers in the world.
But it's also Salah's added this new thing to his game where, like, he used to be known as just being a goal scorer, right? Like, he would score goals. People would play the ball over top, and he would run onto it and score. He's added a new dynamic to his game where he's like, in preseason, he had like 6 or 7 assists. This first game against Chelsea, like you said, pinpoint pass. Luis Diaz, all he has to do is run on, slide into it, and it's a goal.
You want to know what that pass reminded me of?
That's why, like, Caldwell couldn't really back off. Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah.
That's why Caldwell couldn't back off because, like, is he going to shoot it or is he going to thread the needle? And, that's what happened. Sorry, go ahead.
I thought you were done. Sorry.
No.
That really create like weird comparison, but when I saw that pass, watching the end of it, it looks like the ball as soon as it comes to him, it like checks up at the end, right before Diaz is about to finish it. The ball almost like it has a little bit of backspin on it that it's not going to run too far away.
Say something about golf.
Oh hell yeah!
Right.
When those fuckers are 30 yards out and they chip it on the green and it bounce and checks up and rolls back. That kind of what it reminded me of. He hits it beautifully. It's going, and I'm like, oh, that might run to the keeper. Then it kind of checks up, and it holds himself up. I know. Yeah. It was just beautiful to watch. But on the other side, I mean, the Chelsea goal, that was something I wasn't really expecting. It was a really weird goal.
Chelsea played well.
I
thought the goal was a little... I mean, it's
super
a
weird.
corner kick that gets cleared, that gets headed back in, that kind of gets a little... it was a good finish. He puts it basically off the post.
He hits it with his knee almost.
Oh, yeah.
It was like between the middle of his shin and his knee. Like
Listen, they all count.
Listen, I don't care.
As long as it gets
I don't
in the
care
back
if
of
you
the
score
net.
from 90 yards out or you score by hitting the ball with your ass. I don't give a shit if it goes in. But
who do you guys think, after watching the game, will have the better season? 2 teams that underperformed last year. They played each other. Who do you think, out of the 2 of them, after that game alone, not the other transfers, not preseason, after just watching that game, who do you think will have the better season, Chelsea or Liverpool?
Liverpool.
I'm going to go Liverpool too, but
I'm thinking Chelsea.
Are you?
Here's my take on it. And you know what? It's hard for me because I'm trying to just think about the game. I think in this game, Liverpool looked a little bit more solid defensively. I think going forward, they have a little more speed. They move the ball a little quicker. Just pace alone, I think they kind of have that over Chelsea. And the other side of it, and this isn't just from this game, Chelsea's buying everybody. At some point, they're going to bring in these players because you're not going to spend $100 million, on a guy and not let him see the field, right? So, I mean, Man U's done it because they suck. But I think that I don't know if Chelsea could do what City do. I don't know if they can go get these players. I don't know if they can constantly cycle in new players, change their lineups, change their formations. I don't think they could do that. And I think, Liverpool, if they can stay consistent as that starting 11, I don't think Chelsea can. I think there's going to be too many guys coming in, going out, doing this, doing that the consistency and the chemistry won't be there for them. And I think Liverpool will finish better than the table just for that reason.
Let's hear the Chelsea point of view now.
Yeah, I'm curious. You always have to counteract me.
Well, someone
It's
has
content.
to. It makes it interesting.
Content.
Interesting.
He's the yang to your yang.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that was adorable.
I know.
Should I get a yang tattoo? You get a yang tattoo?
No.
We hold our hands up like this and they connect. Dan can be the one that tattoos us.
I worry
Nope.
for Liverpool for their depth. The midfield three they started yesterday or this past weekend: McAllister, Gakpo, and the Hungarian whose name I'm going to mispronounce.
Soboslai.
I will never say that correctly. Soboslai.
You
I
already
didn't say
said
it correctly there.
His first name's Dominic. Just call him Dominic.
I think that unless they sign a midfielder that's going to be able to play that spot, they've got Curtis Jones off the bench, Harvey Elliott off the bench. I don't think they've got a strong not back three, but a strong second string three to come in. I think Curtis Jones had a great season last year, and he'll probably have another one this year. But with Chelsea buying all these players, they bought two holding mids, two great holding
Caicedo,
mids.
Lavia. Yeah, I mean, both going to
Yeah.
Chelsea.
They
Who
bought them just for fun.
Liverpool were interested in. They won the race, but they did just sign Endo from Stuttgart, was it right?
Yes, I think that
So-
was confirmed.
Yeah. That's it's here we go at least. So I think he's set for
Fabrizio,
medicals.
yeah.
and
Really quick. This new whatever the heck is Dominic's last name is.
Soboslai.
Where'd he-
Soboslai.
Where'd he come from? What team?
He came from RB
Red Bulls.
Leipzig. He's Hungarian.
Okay. No, it's just funny because I'm scrolling through the Premier League website and everyone has a picture. Even McAllister's on there with a picture of him on the Liverpool team sheet in his Brighton kit. I guess they haven't changed it yet. And then for Sobosai, all it just says is photo for Dominic Sobosai, and it's just the writing, and there's just no picture. It's kind of funny. Maybe that's sorry.
Nice.
Sorry, it's the little things in life that make me laugh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I thought Nicholas Jackson looked great. I thought Sterling looked a little out of place, but Reece James had some great balls and some great 1-2s with him. You guys are children.
We just made eye contact.
I'm just going to keep
Sorry,
going
go
while they're
ahead. Go ahead,
laughing.
go ahead,
I
go
thought
ahead.
Ben Chilwell played a fantastic game.
They're giving him so much freedom to just
They are. They
like,
really
build up in the
are.
attack.
They are.
They're letting
He
him
got
get
the
up and
assist.
down, and he's got that left foot
Yeah.
that is so dangerous. And that's the thing I think about the difference is going to make between Chelsea and Liverpool. Ben Chilwell gets hurt, God forbid, Cucurella's behind him. Something happens to Cucurella. You still have Lewis Hall. Yeah, he's probably gone, but you still have options. You still have a center back that can play there, and
Yeah.
maybe you play Reece James at right center back. Maybe you play
Because
him at right wing
Maatsen
back.
was playing like, outside
Yeah.
back too.
Where I think if Trent, God forbid, Trent gets hurt, you got Joe Gomez. I have yet to be impressed by him.
That's fair.
They have Samikas too, who's can
He
put
could
it-
play
he
left-footed
can-
Samikias on the right
He
side.
can put in a shift. Oh, is he left? Okay, so he replaces Robertson.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
my bad. Yeah, so right. Yeah, you're right. Right, the right side's an
It's
issue.
been Joe Gomez in the last 2
Yeah.
years. I worry about the outside of the front three for Liverpool. I worry about the depth for the midfield and the back line.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, the other good thing for Chelsea is they don't have,
They don't have
they don't
Champions
have
League.
Champions League or Europa League right now, so they're not going to play as many games, and they can focus on just the league, which is I think benefited Arsenal last year. So I think it's going to be it could be a very similar situation this year, and I think they have an established Premier League coach, Poch, who already seems to have they're creating some sort of identity for the team. The players seem to be buying into his philosophy, and I think, like Brian said, like they're buying these players. Eventually, they're gonna I think
They're going to play him.
They're gonna play him. They're gonna click. They just signed Olise, or they agreed terms with Olise. I think
Another great
once
player.
Nkuku's back from injury, that they add to he's gonna obviously add quality to the team. I just think they could be a problem. I just think it's gonna come later in the year, probably.
I agree.
When everyone's fit and they're rotating the team and there's no cohesion.
They will 100% be better than last year, and I think they'll probably be fighting for top 4, but I think they'll probably land within the 5-6 range.
All right. Before we move on to the last game, was that a penalty for Liverpool on Chelsea, the handball from the corner?
Ooh. No.
No? Dan?
No. I'm also going to go no.
I thought it was a pen.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
Of course I did.
Of course
What
you
do you
fucking
mean?
did.
I'm a defender. I would never say that.
Fuck off. Are we good?
Yeah.
Manchester United, Brian, break it down.
Oh, fuck. All right. 1-0, we win. However, totally not convinced. I don't know if Wolves looked good or we looked like shit or a combination of both. Here's the thing. All right. They need to figure out a formation that works. Because at one point in that game, it just looked like 11 players on the field, and it didn't look like a team. I mean, from start to finish, coming that start of the game, by far, in my opinion, I think Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka were the two best players in the field for United. Wan-Bissaka now finally, where the hell are you going, my guy? All right, whatever. Wan-Bissaka, in my opinion, finally showed some potential going forward. Obviously, he had the assist in this to Varane, which we all knew Varane from Wan-Bissaka was the link up that you've been dreaming of.
Oh yeah, I captained him.
Yeah, right. So, I don't know. I mean, and honestly, I thought looking at the guy that came in. Mason Mount played great. He played a little bit deeper, but he came back, he checked in, he got the ball. He used his body insanely well. There was multiple times where he was getting, tugged or clipped, and he stays on his feet. He did not go down. And I thought in the middle of the field that started the game between him, Casemiro, and Bruno, Mason Mount worked the hardest, ran the most, and showed the most heart on the field. I don't think Casemiro looked like he didn't want to fucking be there.
I had an issue with Mason Mount and Casemiro together because from the way it looked that Casemiro was playing the deep role of the 6 and Mount was playing up by Bruno. And
yes,
if Mount's playing up by Bruno.
That's how they set up.
Yeah, but if he's playing up by Bruno, I'm sorry, I don't really care how hard he works. I want him to have an assist. I want him to have a goal. I want to have a key pass. He looked like he was just hustling, which is great. You're supposed to hustle, but production. That's why you bought him. You don't want him to just work. And then Casemiro by himself as the 6, I thought he was by himself. He was on an island.
He was in no man's land. There were so many times where Wolves got the ball in the middle of the field, and
Kuna run or Marcus Kuna
runs.
Plural.
I think
Casemiro was by himself.
That was their biggest thing is that they're open in the midfield. They need to figure out their midfield.
I think it was Alan Torre. No, not Torre. I'm sorry. It was Gomez da Silva. Got the ball one time, turned within his own, I don't know, probably his own 30. Turned and ran straight. Took 2 touches because they were big touches and just ran. And Casemiro just caught flat-footed on his heels, just turned and couldn't catch him. And either he was reaching for the foul, he was lunging it, whatever it was, but he couldn't do it. And don't get me wrong, I love Casemiro on the field, but if you're going to play Casemiro, Mount, and Bruno in the middle, you have to change it up. Put Mount, honestly, at this point, with the way our strikers and our forwards are going, put Mount as that holding striker because he's very good using his body. Let him hold the ball, lay it off to Bruno, lay it off to Casemiro. They can ping it to a winger, and you put Rashford out there, you have Antony on the other side, and then let Mount peel off and run and look for the ball in the box. He's a big guy. He can win balls in the air. He can go get the ball in the box.
Mount's
huge.
Why are you looking? I have no idea how tall he is.
He played it physical as shit and won every 50-50 in this game, at least.
I feel like he's 5'10".
He won every ball in the air in this game. I thought he did. What the fuck you Premier League website?
Mason Mount is 5'10".
He plays bigger
I'm
than
5'10".
that.
I'm not huge.
Dan, you're huge.
But I guess when I say huge, I meant he's built more. Like, he did not go down
Stocky.
once. Yeah. So I think he could be chippy enough to go get the ball in the air. I don't know. I think he should play more of a holding forward and lay that ball off. That's just me. But the last thing I want to say individually about a Manchester United player, holy goddamn shit, Garnacho sucked ass.
He had a bad
He
game.
would touch the ball, dribble for 2 feet, turn it over. He was trying to make plays that weren't there. At one point, Rashford was wide open, just played across, and he didn't. He's taking people out, and he shouldn't. He's losing the ball. He can't connect a pass. And then, you see Eriksen and Sancho come on, and everything kind of started to flip. Sancho was making the right plays. I think I mentioned this when we were watching the game. I said this is a game for Eriksen to come on and unlock the middle of the field, and he did just that. And he helped this team so much in the middle.
Yep. And before we talk about the big talking point of this game,
Yep.
I just want to give Wolves the credit. They like you said, I think it was a mixture of both. United kind of looking a little, maybe trying to knock off the rust, starting a new season. But Wolves look good. I would say they after their season last year, I had very low expectations. I had them going down.
Yeah, I want them to go down.
After this first game, I think they're staying up.
They look good.
If they can, their biggest issue is goal scoring. They were one of the lowest scoring teams in the league last year. If they can get someone to get on the end of these, Neto, I think had a resurgence. He looked really good yesterday.
Phenomenal.
He was torturing whoever was on the.
He looks like prime Neto
Wan-Bissaka,
from
might have been.
before the knee injury.
Who's the left back?
Shaw.
I think it was Shaw. So he was
he was giving Shaw a
tough time.
day.
And then, like we said, Cunha, he was running through the midfield. Also has some
Is it
chances.
Cunha or Cunha?
I don't know.
I don't know either, and I want to say
Cunha
it right.
Matata. And then Fabio Vieira. Fabio, not Vieira. That's Arsenal. Fabio, what's his last name? Silva?
What?
On Wolves, there's a forward, Fabio something. Silva?
Sanabria? No, it's Pablo.
Sora Silva. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. Yeah, he looked good. He had chances. He just shot it right at Onana 3 or 4 times.
He
But
came on the 77th minute,
yeah,
and I'm pretty sure he had more chances than the United strikers that started the game.
yeah.
He looked really good. And again, it might be that mixture, but if Wolves can get that final pass, that final shot on their counterattacks, they looked goddamn deadly.
Yeah, the next training, Wolves, the forwards just need to go out
And
and
finish.
do shooting drills because
For an hour
they
and a
looked
half.
like they had everything else going for them.
Yeah.
All right, let's touch on this before we move on, and we finish up our our analysis kind of this past week. So the big talking point Dan mentioned late in the game, we're in I think stoppage
I think it was
time.
the
at this point.
92nd.
Yeah.
Ball gets swung in. Onana comes out. I don't know who wins the header for Wolves, but Onana then takes out, flying 2 hands towards the ball, never gets to him, just puts pretty much his forearm into some dude's head. I forget who it is. I'm sorry. And it goes to VAR. The ref at the time doesn't call the penalty. It goes to VAR, and the decision is no penalty. Now, I'm just going to get this out of the way. I'm a goalie. I'm
Biased.
I'm a Man United fan. In my opinion, and you could see it in VAR, he looks at the ball, and right before he jumps, you could tell he wasn't winning that ball. He was hitting somebody because he took his eye off the ball. In my opinion, that is a penalty. Somebody I heard argue, I saw an argument, oh, well, it didn't impact the shot. I don't care. You pretty much were a middle linebacker, and you ran across, and you laid somebody out who didn't even touch the ball.
In no world is that not a penalty. I'm sorry.
Now,
literally everyone in the bar that we were at Darcy's.
I agreed it was
everyone. And everyone online is saying that is a clear stonewall penalty.
Dude, my girlfriend doesn't really know the sport, and she was like, I don't think you could do that, right? And I'm like, no, you can't. We got lucky as shit.
It would be different if he made contact with the ball, but he does not touch the ball in the slightest.
Now, here's the way I think that gets called. If he's the player that heads that ball and then it clears out, I think it's a pen because then you can make the argument, oh, you threw it off. But the last 2 things I'm going to say about this, and then I'm done. 1, the only somewhat defense is that the Premier League was somewhat consistent. because Jose Sa did this last season.
It's wrong. They were wrong. They missed that one last year, too.
Exactly.
That's a
So
fucking foul.
I'm saying at least there's some type of it's bullshit. I agree. Both are pens. There's some type of weird fucking consistency there.
I get the fact it happened before, but it's like
They fix it. Fix it.
yeah.
I agree.
I don't know.
And the other thing is, and this is why, and if you haven't heard, the VAR, I think the VAR, the center official, and somebody else have gotten dropped for next week's games, or this coming week's Premier League games.
Yep.
They've gotten dropped, rightly so. As that center ref and as that VAR, you call the head ref over, you have a fucking discussion, you have him take a look.
It
The
blows
fact that
my
he
mind.
didn't even go take a look at that is a disgrace.
Yeah.
I'm a United fan. We won the game. We shouldn't have. We should have tied that game.
Well, the thing is, like,
Well, at least they should have a
everyone
chance to tie
thought
that
he
game.
was going over to look at it, but instead
Going
gave
over to card the fucking
the
coach for
Wolves
Wolves.
coach a
Dude,
card for protesting the goal or
and
the
again,
non-call.
And this is coming from a goalkeeper and a United fan. It's a penalty. I don't care if it happened before and it wasn't before. I'm saying that's just a weird, consistent coincidence, whatever the fuck. It is 100. You cannot go Superman. He takes his eye completely off the ball now. Look at the VAR replay. Takes his eye off the ball. Superman dives at someone, cleans him out. Am I happy we won? Yes. Do I think we deserved it? Not because of the pen, because of our play. We didn't deserve 3 points. We got it. I'm happy. I'll move on. But it was a fucking shit show, I think, for United, and they have to. Ten Hag has to figure it out.
What's the point of VAR if you're not going to fucking use it in something like this?
We've had so many VAR discussions on this show. The past couple of years we've done it when we've done the show. I don't want to get into it right now. We're already at an hour, man. We got other shit to talk about.
We're going to jump into...
We're at an hour and 5.
We're going to do fantasy now, all right?
I can do some fantasy chat.
We're going to switch it up for a minute, then we're going to very quickly go through next week's games. Just a quick little recap, give our predictions, and...
Yeah, we have a couple other things we want to touch on, but...
So, like we mentioned last pod, we're going to do a little segment where we go through... Because we want to include some fantasy in the podcast moving forward. We can talk about how we did in the league. But we're also going to talk about the top performers of the league. So, just kind of running through. The top performer last week was Bernd Leno, the goalkeeper from Fulham. 9 saves, 1 clean sheet, total 28.5 points. Highest score in the league.
I mean, guy played out of his mind. I mean, I did you go on to put the stats in for this?
Yes.
Did he have anything else, or did you just pick like the 2 big ones? Because I
picked the ones that scored the most.
Yeah, so he probably had a couple clearances or aerial wins or whatever. Like, again, rightly deserving. 28 points though, kind of shocking.
Yep.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka getting himself a clean sheet, a couple key passes. He had the assist in the Varane goal. So he's second in fantasy performance. And then
we mentioned the third, which is Rodri.
Yeah, we touched on him. Had a phenomenal game.
Yeah, goal, assist, a couple shots on target.
Yeah. Clayton, who's fourth? Let's get you involved in this a bit. Oh, there we go.
I don't even know who fourth was.
Estupinian.
Oh, okay. Did he have an assist?
He had an assist.
He did, yeah.
6 key passes.
Which is crazy.
Which for our listeners, to remind you, key pass is a pass to a shot on target. So, Brighton played Luton.
Is that all key passes? I'm in the fantasy, and I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it is.
Is that all it is?
Yeah.
I thought a key pass was also the pass to an assist. Doesn't count as key pass?
No.
So when I'm drunk at a bar and any pass that basically gets like forward,
it's gotta be
like,
a
it's
shot.
a key pass. Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't
I
know
looked
that.
it up the other day.
Huh. I also know.
But he was doing everything.
I mean, granted, every time any one of my players passed the ball 4 yards, I would just yell key pass.
I do remember the assist he had now, actually.
Yeah.
Ferguson.
Yeah. It was a good ball. It was a great play. It was just a real... I did like that goal. I think Ferguson's going to have a hell of a year. But we already talked about that.
And then to round out the fifth slot... what the fuck am I saying? In the fifth slot...
Come off.
Fuck off. In the fifth slot... I mean, hold on. 2 goals, 2 shots. I mean, he led the league last year in points. Yeah, nobody.
I mean, of the top 5, I figured one was going to be in there. It's going to be Haaland. But the other 4, I had no idea they were going to be.
I mean,
that's fantasy.
I mean, look at the top 2. You have a keeper and an outside back, and an outside back who historically fullback. Fuck off. Historically and notoriously sucks at getting forward and sending crosses, and he fucking got an assist. But like Dan just mentioned, we will kind of touch on the last thing. At least the 3 of us, because Garrett's not here. How do we do in fantasy? I beat Garrett, who's not here. That's why he's not here. He's probably just doesn't want to face me. Yeah. So I want to know to start my season, Clayton.
I lost. I had like 4 players put up minus points.
Oof.
Yeah, Matty Cash had almost minus 10. Douglas Luiz had minus 2. Raul Jimenez had minus 3.
Did you just remember this shit? You're reading off nothing.
Yeah, because I'm freaking obsessed.
Lowest scorer in the league.
Yeah,
Did he?
I
Oh,
going
no.
into
Not only
the
are
10 o'clock games, I was like fighting for it was a battle.
You guys
And
were
then-
battling, yeah.
And then the 10 o'clock games hit, and I was losing by like
Oh, God.
15 points just because
You
so many
stink,
players I picked did so bad. Half my team is already completely different.
not only is
Yeah,
Villa
yeah.
bottom of the league, but
So am I.
Clayton is bottom of the league.
Yeah,
in
no, I mean,
fantasy.
Clayton, if
It's a long season, boys, all right?
It's week 1. You got time.
it's
you
all right.
got
I
time.
drafted Mr. Irrelevant, a.k.a. Tyrone Mings, and then I dropped him after week 1 because he's done forever. Dan, how'd you do?
I won.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
Wait, so let me, can we just clear this up real quick? So, Dan,
I won.
your Premier League team, how'd they do?
They won.
Oh, mine too. Your
Did
fantasy team.
win?
My-
Yeah, they won too. Yeah,
Oh, hell yeah, Dan. Let's go.
Clayton?
You know,
Oh, brother.
I'm going to take my laptop
Sorry,
and go
sorry.
home.
No, we're recording it laptop.
All right.
All right. Real quick, I think we mentioned.
Score predictions.
Oh, I thought we were gonna do the other 2 things first.
No, we're gonna do
No,
score
we're just going to
predictions.
roll into
Ooh.
next week, and I think that's going to be the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we touched on everything else we really didn't touch about. It's a long episode.
Sorry.
Well, yeah. We'll dive more into some stuff later. All right. So, Dan, I'm gonna run through the games.
I got it because I got it in order with like everyone's name here. So
You want to type mid?
I got it. Yeah.
Dan's got it.
All right. So
So-
run through here.
All right. So the first game next week is Forest versus Sheffield at the City Ground. This is the Friday game. Clayton, what is your score prediction?
I'm going 2-0 Forest. I thought they looked good against Arsenal. I don't think Sheffield looked great. And I think this is where these are the points that Forest need to win if they want to continue to progress in the league.
Yep.
Fair.
Okay. Second game, Brian. This goes to you.
Okay.
This is going to be Fulham versus Brentford. I think this is going to be a pretty good game. Saturday, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for.
Who's home?
Fulham.
It's Fulham, so at Craven Cottage.
After watching Fulham and Brentford, honestly, I think there could be some goals in this game. I don't know if Leno can repeat what he did. He played unbelievable. I am going to go 3-2 Fulham. I think, like I said, I don't think Brentford can shut out this year.
Okay.
Dan, you got a good game.
Yeah, third game is Liverpool versus Bournemouth at Anfield. I think Liverpool's going to take care of business
Yep.
here. I'm going to go 3-0.
I'm a sucker for a good upset.
All right.
I am too, but I don't know. Anfield's a tough place to play at.
Clayton, we'll take the next one, right? We got Brighton at Wolves. The last 10 o'clock game on Saturday.
I'm going to go 1 apiece. I think that Wolves played really well against United away, home in front of their own crowd. If they play similarly, I could see them putting a good fight in.
All right. And then, Brian, this is your team.
Yeah.
This is Spurs versus United at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. This is the 12:30 Saturday game for us. Brian, what's your score?
You want me to pick on my heart or my head?
You can pick whatever you want, but
Shit.
your heart might not win you.
No, it's not going to. I don't think we have the defensive quality. Again, depends on the starting 11. I don't think we have the defensive qualities in the middle of the field or the speed in the middle of the field right now to stop Madison. I think he's going to do whatever he wants on the ball. And I think he's going to get Son involved. This really hurts me to say. I'm going to go 2-0 Spurs. I want to say no, yeah, I'm sticking with it. I can't.
2-0.
I have to say it, yeah. It hurts so bad. I hate Spurs. It fucking hurts.
Not as much as me, but yeah.
This next game, the round out Saturday,
Game of the weekend.
game of the
for
weekend.
Sure.
1,010%.
I mean,
game of the weekend.
United Spurs is a big game too, but this game kind of tops it. I
But the
think,
fact
for
that we
sure.
get these games back to back is fucking sick.
Yeah. City versus Newcastle at the Etihad.
Oh, look at that.
Wow, look at you.
Look at you.
Garrett's not here to give his prediction.
We should have asked him.
I think it's going to be a good game. I want to say a tie, but it's not going to be. I think it's going to be like 2-1
Who?
City.
All right. Clayton, now we go over to you for the Sunday matchup. You guys, Aston Villa, are at home at Villa Park. You're hosting Everton. Let's hear it.
I think it's going to be 2-0 us. I think it's going to be a crappy 2-0. I think we're going to get one kind of lucky, and then Everton's going to push, and we're going to get a second one late just to seal it. I think we're going to win the game, but don't think we're going to win it as comfortably as we should.
Hey, guess what? A crappy win is still a fucking win.
Good teams win no matter who they're playing.
And then I'll take the next one.
Yep.
You can round it out. West Ham are hosting Chelsea at the second and final game on Sunday. Based off what I've seen week one, I think Chelsea just have too much more quality. Or West Ham. Do we know when Ward-Prowse is going to get? Is he playing? Like, is he?
I'm hoping this week.
The thing
he's signed and practicing, so I'm hoping he.
Yeah, if he's signed, if he's playing, I think it's going to be. I think West Ham keep it close. I just don't think they get the result. I think it's 2-1 Chelsea, and it leads us into Monday to round out game week 2 at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace playing host to Dan's Arsenal. Dan, what do you think is going to happen in this one?
I think Palace looked pretty good against Sheffield, but I think Arsenal will be too much for them. I'm going to go 2-0. Hopefully we can keep a clean sheet. But we'll see. Eze has looked threatening. He could always, pull some strings and either get an assist or a goal. So I'm still going to stick with 2-0.
Yep. So that being said, that wraps up our preview. Looking forward to a little predictions towards game week 2. I know it's been an hour and 15. I do just want to go one thing.
Sure.
All right. So I want to round it out with this. All right. Game week 1. All right. A lot of different players stepped up. A lot of different players didn't really show up. Some teams might have surprised you. Some teams might be like, well, what the hell were they doing? Okay, man. I want each of you guys pick a team, pick a player, give it one or the other, and then give me, were they your biggest surprise or your biggest disappointment? You only get one, so I don't want to hear, Clayton, your biggest surprise and disappointment. Pick one. What was bigger, your disappointment or your surprise? So we'll start with Dan. Do you have one lined up, ready to go?
Yeah.
We'll start with Dan. So your biggest surprise or your biggest disappointment of a team or a player for week 1?
I'm going to go with Tonali. We spoke a lot about him. Like you said in preseason, he was like, okay, I think it's a good signing. Like, he was always a solid player for Italy and in Serie A. But he really flew into made his presence known in the Premier League here in his debut with a goal. Like we said, he was contributing to everything, not only offensively, which he's a holding midfielder. So, like, he's not always going to be involved in that kind of stuff. But he was, like, sending balls in, like we said, hockey assist to the assist, but also looked solid on defense and just in possession as well. I think Newcastle have a stud on their hands, and I think for a long time that midfield is solidified. Joelinton, Guimaraes, and Tonali is a solid midfield, and I think one of the top in the Premier League at the moment. So I'm going to go with him.
Clayton, what do you got? Player and or team, biggest surprise, biggest disappointment of game week 1?
Biggest disappointment had to be Manchester United. I thought for a team that spent the money that they've spent, that's hyped themselves up the way they've hyped up, that's got world-class players in not some positions, every position. They have international players and world-class players to give the performance against Wolves. And it's no discredit to Wolves. I thought Wolves had a great game. I thought Kuna was very close to being my surprise with the way he played.
Yeah.
But at home, first game of the season, you need to come out all guns blazing, and it just wasn't there. And I honestly thought that they did not deserve to win that game. And they got a moment of brilliance from Bruno. I think the cross from Wan-Bissaka, the ball to Wan-Bissaka, I thought the cross from Wan-Bissaka was a hit and hope. I don't think he was really looking. I think he said someone's in there somewhere. And when Varane is standing above everyone because he's a world-class center back and a world-class finisher of the ball with his head, he's going to find the back of the net. Based on that game alone, I am worried. I am concerned. I do not think that United are going to be playing as well. I hope that this time next week I'm eating my words. I hope they have a great season. But I think that they had a absolutely shambolic first game of the season.
Do you think Højlund makes a difference when he comes in or no?
I don't. I think he will make. I think he'll be an out and out forward. Where I think Marcus Rashford is much better on the wing.
I was just going to say that. Yes, 100%.
But he's 18, 19 years old.
I think he's 20.
He's okay.
19 or 20.
He's 20 years old.
He's young.
Yeah,
and I'll
19,
say
20.
exactly what I said about Tonali. Coming from Serie A, where it's a little less physical, in my personal opinion, I think he'll have a season. I think he'll play well. I don't think he will be the Erling Haaland that they need. I don't think he'll be the Nicholas Jackson that Chelsea, I think, have found. I don't think that he'll be the Harry Kane that Spurs just lost and are hoping that Richarlison can fill the shoes of. I don't think he'll be the Ollie Watkins even. I don't think he'll be the 15-goal a season forward. In 3 years' time, I think he definitely could be. But I think first season in the Prem, young, he's only had it, what, a season, 2 seasons at Atalanta? So I don't think that – and I hope in 3 weeks' time, Brian, I hope you're sitting there and you're going, fuck you, Matt. You were so wrong after week 1.
I hope so.
For you, I hope I'm wrong. But that
Thanks,
first
man.
performance was woesome.
All right. I think I'm going to go with my biggest surprise. And I guess I don't know if you can really classify it too much as a surprise, but I mean, you guys took the two that I was really thinking about. But I'm looking through here, and honestly, I'm mainly and mostly surprised by Ben Chilwell this weekend. I think he came out, he got an assist, a player who, for the most part, has been, had his injury woes. He hasn't really been too much of a mainstay in a lineup. He's been shuffled in and out. He's had to deal with, different players around him, different managers. And for him to come out and, honestly, from what I saw this game, it was the Ben Chilwell of old, pushing forward, getting into the attack, but then still having that determination, that energy, that speed to track back and defend at the same time. And, he got on the score sheet. He got his assist. So for me, to see him come out and play like we've all expected him to, and
like the Leicester City Ben Chilwell.
Yes, and that we've got to know him, and we all wanted on Chelsea for so long. But like I said, the injuries and the management changes that kind of plagued that from him. I think him coming out and performing how he did, it was a very, very pleasant surprise because I would not a Chelsea supporter, obviously, and I don't really want to see them do well, but it would be nice to see him get back to that way he was on Leicester, because when he played that way, he was so much fun to watch, and he was so deadly going forward and tracking back. So for me, I'm going to go Ben Chilwell as my biggest surprise of week 1.
I think, just not to talk too much about it, but I would just say I think Poch is like the perfect manager for him, because when he was at Spurs, he was all about fullbacks, coming out and joining the attack, and that's what Ben Chilwell is best at. When Poch was at Tottenham, he had Kyle Walker and he had Trippier, I think, at the time, Danny Rose, all involved, bombing forward, and that is Chilwell's game. He is best when I think he's a better attacking fullback than he is a defending fullback. So I think he's going to have a big season. Yeah, like you said, I think you said everything. I think.
Yeah. All right, we get to wrap up.
Yeah, we're good.
I failed to mention this when we talked about the Villa game, but there's a reason why Clayton wore an Ajax jersey instead of a...
I have 2 Villa jerseys. I'm getting a third one. I don't know where the other one went.
You probably tossed it because I trashed. Okay, so hitting an hour and 20-ish. We had a lot to talk about, a lot of recaps, a lot of previews. I know we mentioned this at the end of the last podcast, but football's back, soccer's back, whatever you call it. We're back.
Brian, where can they find us?
Oh, you want to know where they can find us?
Yeah.
Well, they can find us on Twitter. They can find us on YouTube. And they can find us on Instagram. I believe, rumor has it, we're reviving the Twitter. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're back. We're back.
TikTok, all that good stuff.
I think going forward, I think Garrett said we're all going to be running one of the social
we're all going to
medias.
grab a social media.
Yeah.
We're all going to run it. But like I said, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, at League Pints. I know on TikTok, you guys, we had a lot of interaction. We, at one point in a while, we had a couple 100,000 views, and since the revival of the podcast, we've been in the thousands again. So thank you guys so much for that. Go give us a follow, interact with us on all those social media accounts. Well, whoever's running at the time.
We have nothing better to do.
Yeah, we'll interact with you guys. And honestly, if you guys see things differently, or you guys have different opinions on things, we'd love to hear them. at times last year we brought up TikToks and we found our favorite comments and the funniest comments. We brought them up, give you guys shout outs. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching on YouTube, TikTok, everything. Thank you for downloading the episodes. We're happy to be here. We're happy you guys are enjoying it. And we will see you guys next week. Have a great game week 2.
See ya.